Hello everybody, welcome back to a bonus stream, and today we're just going to be continuing on with what I was doing, which is making a new card, a new starfish. So let's just get right into it. I'm just eager to get this thing going. So you can wishlist Alchemortis. This is a game I'm working on. The Steam page is linked in the description below, so I'd definitely appreciate if you would check that out if you haven't wishlisted yet. That would help me out quite a lot, and I appreciate all of your support. Hello, Clickertail, welcome back. I still don't know if I like this starfish. I mean, I think I like the design of it generally, but I don't know. We're just going to have to play around with it and see what happens. We're just going to have to play with it. We are just going to have to play with it. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit tricky, I think. Yeah, I mean, I kind of want this to look like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a slimy streak going through. So trying to just make that work. I think, I mean, it's kind of getting there. I'm liking this splattering of these red bits in here. Kind of gives it a little bit more visual interest. Kind of makes it look, I don't know, iridescent a little bit, I suppose. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, this one, yeah, probably gonna just need. I wonder if I just add like, yeah, something like that. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. We'll just go through all these. I still am not sure about the body here, but we'll worry about that in a second. And of course, still need ideas for what this thing should actually do. So we'll figure out what abilities it's going to have and all that good stuff. Okay. We will figure out all the abilities and whatnot after we get this done. Yeah, this one is not looking too bad. Yeah, this is not looking bad at all. Yeah, I think the body really is just going to be the thing that needs some more help. Yeah, I don't think that looks terrible. Okay, and then for this one, we want to do kind of like this. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, we are gonna want some darker pixels here. Put those in, slap some red on there. I don't know about this one here. Actually, that's probably okay. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, actually. I may clean this one up. Yeah, I might just make this thicker here and then just slap something there. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And now my cat is whining in the other room. I might have to go check and see what he's up to. It's always something, isn't it? It's always something. Yeah, so the body part needs to be touched up a little bit. I may just take a whole new stab at this. Hello, G. Whittington. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hello, Rin. Welcome back to you as well. Did not expect to see you at this time. Yeah, I've been doing bonus streams lately. You know, just figure might as well hang out a little bit. Might be a little bit lower energy than the morning stream because I've got some lunch in me. And well, I don't even know what I was going to say. We'll just trail off. We'll pretend like nothing happened. I wonder, oh, that looks kind of interesting, actually. I'm literally just kind of like drawing nothing. Just experimenting. I wonder if this would look better if it was red. Well, that's kind of interesting. I'm just not entirely sure that that's going to work. Well, what do I want to do for this middle part here? What I could do is, let's duplicate this so I don't destroy anything. Maybe I'll try just... Do I even want like a discrete body, or do I just take these and just connect them to each other? Like, as if they're just crossing through each other. Do I just do that? That's a little bit odd, but... I'm just doodling. We'll see. That may kind of work. Yeah, this may end up working just fine. Yeah, maybe this will work. Let's see. Try to clean it up a little bit because it looks a lot messy right now. It looks a lot messy, but we'll fix it. We will fix it. All right, let's see. Yeah, so I kind of want to, if I'm going to go this way, I need to make it look like these things are all joining in here. Like all these ridges are coming in and it's kind of like melding together. Honestly, maybe this should be thicker. Don't know about that one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean up a bunch of these lines here. Yeah, this is not looking right. That looks better, I suppose. I don't know. Left design feels a bit visually top heavy compared to the right a bit. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Emerson, hello, hello. Welcome back to the stream. How much stuff did you do off stream? Not much. I mean, I just had lunch and went to the meeting. Oh, you mean generally? I do a lot of stuff off stream. Like, there's a lot of work that you guys don't see on the streams. Yeah, lots of work. Still 3:30 a.m. there. I feel like this is getting there. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if I have... I think this is largely getting there. Largely okay. Maybe I'll just try to clean it up a little bit. I think there's a lot of noise in here. So let me just see. Yeah, that looks better. Just try to... Try to get rid of some of the noise. Make it smoother generally. Okay, that works. Just get rid of the red. Get rid of the red pixels. I don't know about those anymore. Yeah, I think this is probably... This might be a situation where I just say, you know, it's fine. Do I want like a separation here? That's the question. Okay, yeah, something like that. Maybe I should lean into this a little bit. So if I do, yeah. Yeah, I think that looks a little better because then it creates... It creates a little bit more separation in there. I could even think about making the very middle black there. Just kind of like an eldritch horror starfish. Maybe that's what we'll call it. Eldritch star. Can I use that word eldritch? Is that just like a generic term? I can use that. So maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll just say there's the eldritch star and we'll call it a day. I mean, I still need to do the abilities and whatnot, but you know, I think it's an improvement over this version. Yeah, I think it's an improvement over that version for sure. I don't think it's not the best thing. Not the best art in the game, of course. Everyone knows that the fencing ghoul is the best art in the game, but I think it's serviceable, I would say. It is serviceable, I would say. I don't even know if it's worth going through the effort to make these all pointy. Probably not, because you're never going to see the outline version. But might as well just do it. Okay. There we go. That'll work. This is looking good. How did your meeting go? It was good. Thank you. Welcome back, Real Cruda. It's 1:47 p.m. where I am now, so look, it's a good time for me too. Yeah, we're in the same time zone. 1:55 now. Consider your 10-year experience in software engineering and tries in startups. What thing forced you to change your field towards game dev? I mean, your way may have been different. My English is a work in progress. That's okay. Welcome, Fortune Sort. I didn't really choose to do this. I lost my job at a startup, and I was working on Gunforged at the time, so I was like, well, I might as well take the time off to finish Gunforged, and then I may as well also try to just make a career out of this. So, yeah, we'll see how Alchemortis does. I definitely think that Alchemortis should sell more copies than Gunforged did, but whether that will be enough to sustain me when I go, if I want to keep doing game dev, we will have to see if that's the case. Okay, so we've got Eldritch Star. Now we got to think of like what we want to do with this. Oh, the other thing that I realized too is we want to change the drag offset for the harvest min as well. So I'm going to do that before I continue on with the star, before I forget. But this one has excluded cell of 0, 0. Then the next one is 2, 0. Then the next one is 0, 2. Then the last one is 2, 2. Is that right? 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 2, 2, 2. Yeah. Okay, and this is an alchemical. Let's also make it ritual, an alchemical ritual. That sounds good to me. We'll worry about all these other tags later. But let me just see if I configured that correctly. So we'll add starfish into there. Never seen the fencing ghoul. I'll show you, Rin. The art is definitely very cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. 655 for you. Oh, we have a problem. Create artifact, null reference. Oh, did I put this? I put this in the wrong spot, didn't I? I put that in the artifacts list instead of the items list. There we go. This may have been asked a lot, but when starting on Alchemortis, did you rapid prototype the combat for the field, or did the gameplay emerge as you added more onto it? Yeah, I mean, I think I had the core idea of the game, which was basically, you know, you have your items that you put on your board, and then, you know, they have abilities that execute. Like, I had the auto battler formula pretty set early on. It's all the other systems that weren't set in stone, right? Like, in terms of how the alchemy worked, how did the map work, all this stuff. So basically, like, I had the core concept of like, yes, you have inventory management and you've got to place all these items on your board. And that's going to determine, you know, how effective your build is, and you're going to, you know, use alchemy in some way to make that, you know, to make your build more potent. But in terms of like, what is the game loop, like how are your upgrade opportunities presented to you and stuff, that was all stuff that had to be prototyped, right? Initially for the game, like the very earliest versions of the game, I had like a bazaar, which is the game, the bazaar. I had a bazaar style sequence of events where like you would just get like one of 3 choices, like which event do you want to do next, and like you choose it and then something happens. And then I tried to move to like an open world map, which didn't end up working, and I finally settled in on like a more Slay the Spire style map where it's a directed graph essentially, which you navigate upwards and you can choose what to visit along the way. So all that stuff had to be prototyped and play tested and all that good stuff. I need to fix this too. Interesting. Getting into crazy shapes now. Yes, indeed. Kind of been here since the prototype days. I'm so happy I've stuck around because the shape of the game is wonderful and looking forward to more playtests and release day. Thank you. Yeah, the game has definitely improved a lot since the early versions, which is good. Thanks for answering. I'm in the same boat as I have a baseline idea, but surprisingly has many emerging sub-ideas and mechanics, as you were saying. I think the best thing you could do is probably just prototype. The other trick too is like, or not trick, but the tricky part is, you know, there's obviously so many different things that I could do for this game. There's so many like interesting little things that can be added in features, and so it's hard a lot of times to like stay focused on the core experience. Like it's hard to just keep like the core experience in mind and then try to build everything to support that experience rather than like going off on a tangent and like doing a bunch of random stuff because it sounds cool. So that's the hard part too. Like even, you know, people who watch the streams regularly will have cool ideas and it's like, yeah, that's a cool idea, but you know, maybe in an alternate universe, maybe in a different version of this game, that would have been a more core feature. But, you know, there's a certain way that this game works, and I want to just try to squeeze as much out of that as possible without just like ballooning and bloating up like all the features and all the things. So that's a hard part too. But I think it's in a good spot. Like I think I'm in a position now where I'm feeling pretty good about how everything works. So we got to change the offset, the drag offset for this guy. I want to see his legs break. Oh, there it goes. That's so funny. Oh, that's funny. That's actually very amusing. Anyway, the fencing ghoul. Somebody wanted to see that. I think it's called Ghoul Fencer. Here you go, Rin. There's the Ghoul Fencer. He's just exactly what you would think. So he's got a really low cooldown, which may be a problem. But maybe not. Anyway. So we need to change the drag offset of the Harvestman card. So let's just do this. Initial work on Starfish. Card registry. Let's see. Card sells to additional drag offset. Additional drag offset. Additional drag offset. Do I need to edit this? I forgot how my root cell property works. Root cell is one. Oh, I see. Yeah, I think I just want to do this one. So this is what? New vector 2 I. This would be 1 1. New vector 2 I. Oh, do I need to define the whole thing here? Do I need to define all the cells here? I actually don't remember. I think I need to define all the cells. This kind of sucks. If I had more time, if I wanted to spend more time, I think what I would do is I would actually create custom resources for all the different card shapes where I could define additional metadata about that shape. Because that's essentially what this is. This is essentially saying, you know, apply an additional drag offset based on the shape. And as you can tell, this is not the nicest way of doing that, but this is the way that I have to do it. And the nice thing too is that once I've defined the shape in here and it works, I don't need to touch it again. So it's a little bit cumbersome to set up initially, but then I don't have to touch it again. So it's like, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to take the trade-off, you know? Oh, these need to be vector 2i. Have you considered making a new C# Godot course that teaches you C# and Godot game development? Hello, Hyundai. Hudai Delure or Dior, welcome back. I always have trouble pronouncing your name. I'm sorry. No, I haven't. I haven't considered making any other courses right now. Okay, so that works. I just need to make this -1, I think. That doesn't seem right to me, but I think whatever, it's fine. Been getting really into Blockbench. Somehow A-Sprite frustrates me, but Blockbench feels intuitive. I guess my brain visualizes in 3D space better, IDK. I did use Blockbench a little bit. There was a period of time where I was trying to make a vanilla plus Minecraft mod. It was pretty cool. I got pretty far with it, actually. It was mostly just a fun project because I was wondering how to do Minecraft modding. And I was, learning how to use all the modding frameworks that people had made, like Fabric and whatnot. But I did a bunch of cool things. Like, I'm trying to remember. I added a bunch of new enchantments. I also added lava fishing, so you could fish in the nether in the lava lakes. What else did I add? There was something that I did with like electricity and lightning. Like you could put a lightning rod on a furnace or something with like some zombie flesh in it, and that would create like enchanted zombie flesh or something. And then you could like, I don't remember, this was several years ago. But where I stopped with that project is I was working on making a flying machine that was powered by coal. And I designed the flying machine in Blockbench. That was pretty fun. I did end up getting it working. Like you could insert coal into the flying machine, and then you could, it would like deplete the coal over time, but then you could just fly around in the overworld. What else did I do? I thought I did something else. I don't remember. I'd have to go see if I can find that project. I don't even know how I would get it running again, but anyway, moral of the story is Blockbench was pretty fun. I feel like my ideas have done the same. 1 minute I want to do an auto battler type game, then now I'm doing a hacker deck builder because my brain told me it was a better idea. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, maybe it is a good idea. Maybe you just need to spend less time on it. Maybe you just need to give yourself a deadline of 3 months and just like release it in whatever state it's in after 3 months so you can move on. How about both legs breaking? No, I'm not going to do that because that would require, let's see, I would need the left legs, the right legs, the body with the left legs gone, the body with the right legs gone, and then the full body, right? So I would need 5 different items, 5 different cards for each permutation of the Harvestman. And then I need to, make sure the logic accounts for like, am I on the version of the card without the left legs or the version of the card without the right legs? It's like, you end up with a lot more options. So just the right legs will break. And that's still 3 different things though, because then I have the full body, the legs, and then the body with half of its legs missing. Oh, that got stuck. Oh, interesting. That is a problem. Oh, that got stuck. Interesting. I'll need to fix that as well. Oh, now I gotta fix this one too. Okay, so let's just do another version. This is the same thing except it has these missing. And then this would be -0.5 and -0.5 there. Oh. Why is this complaining? Wow, I can't type. Okay, there we go. I need to figure out why that was getting stuck in the animation. Let's see. I think I just need to do a cleanup in here, honestly. Set scale, root scale. What's the other thing I'm doing? Position. I think I just need to reset the scale in here. So I should probably do the same thing for the other animations. Yeah, we just want to reset the scale. So the problem is these tweens can be interrupted in certain situations. And if they get interrupted while a scale is currently being applied to the animation, the scale will get stuck. So in the cleanup method, I just need to make sure to reset that scale, because I'm not guaranteed that whatever version of the tween ends up interrupting this one, I'm not guaranteed that that's also going to change the scale. So I need to make sure to set that root scale back to 1 if it gets interrupted. Okay, let's try this now. There we go. We got some errors here. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Base card.cardNode.animate placement. Animate displacement. So apparently there's a couple of problems with... Oh, I can reproduce that pretty easily, actually. Do I want to attach... So let me see if I can debug this really quick. It seems to only happen when I move it to the alchemy drawer, or the alchemy board. It has to break in the alchemy board. Oh, there we go. So what is this call stack here? Oh, change card input state, try quick move card. Base card.cardNode.animate displacement, emit signal card. Oh. This base card here is probably still referencing the giant harvestman, but that's been deleted. So when the card gets transferred here, it's triggering the destruction of... It's triggering the destruction of the harvestman and replacing it with the other harvestman variants. So I guess the problem is, yeah, I could have this problem multiple places actually. Like if I destroy a card when it's transferred. So I think what I need to do in here, I'm destroying the card right here, which is automatically like clearing or freeing the node. Where is it changing card? Oh, it's invoking the destroying card rendering server, destroying on base card destroying. It's freeing it here. Oh, is it setting? Oh yeah, it's setting card node to null here. Do I want to do that? So I got a couple of options. I could make this a getter that will check if the card node is valid, instance is valid, and then return null if not. So that way, like even while the card node is queued for freeing, it will still have a valid reference. The other thing that I can do though is I can, instead of doing a base card destroy, I can do a queue destroy. Oh, that's not gonna work though, is it? Oh, maybe it will. Maybe it will. So if I do... I wonder if that will fix it. So in here, instead of destroying it in here, I'll do Q destroy. I wonder if that will be safer. Oh, look at that. No error this time. And it seems to work just fine. Cool. This is the ghoul. For me, it's more difficult to see the balance of time and work when tasked to prototyping versus going back to the drawing board for a better baseline. Yeah. It's one of those things like, yeah, you have to... It's a little bit, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's a little bit worrying to commit to something, at least in my experience, because you're always like questioning, like, could it be better? Is the design really nailed down all that well? But I found like it's, you know, if the core is solid enough, then the rest of it is like malleable, right? Like you can freely change things over the course of the game. You could even like redo entire systems. It's just, I think what's mostly important is like, is the core idea of like how you want the player experience to be, is that a good idea? Is the core theme, is the core presentation, is the core fantasy like good? Then all of the other stuff is just, it's just stuff that's designed to try to give the player the experience you're after, and all that stuff can change, right? So like there's a sense in which Alka Mortis hasn't really changed since the early prototyping, but there's another sense in which it's changed a lot. It hasn't changed in terms of like what the presentation is and what the fantasy is and like what the core player experience is, which is, you know, you want to min-max your build by optimizing your cards and their placement. But how that optimization happens and how everything is presented, that has changed dramatically over time. So I think it makes it easier to commit to things when you think of it like that. It's like, is the core of the game solid? Like, can I build stuff around this core and like change stuff around the core and not compromise on like what that core vision is? Then it becomes a lot easier to commit to things because you know you can just change anything that's not working. I did see your suggestion. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm not really interested in, I mean, I'm not saying I won't change his ability, but I'm not really interested in balancing innate abilities around the fact that they can be transferred with the Blood Bulb. The Blood Bulb is itself kind of like a gimmicky thing, which may or may not break the game in certain ways. And that's fine. Like, I'm not, the Blood Bulb is an extremely rare drop. It's the rarest item in the entire game. And if you end up getting that in a run with, you know, the Fencing Ghoul's innate ability, it may be the case that like that innate ability maybe won't be that good on something else, but that's fine. Like the innate abilities are primarily not designed to be transferred to things. The Blood Bulb is just kind of like a fun way, like, hey, do you want to try to break the game? Here you go. You know what I mean? It's not, I'm not trying to make it so that the Blood Bulb is going to be useful all the time. It's more so just like situational, right? The other thing too is like, I'm not even sure that that assumption is correct. I'm not even sure that that innate ability won't be good on something else, because what I still want to do is I still want to support builds where you actually want to increase the turn cooldown, right? And if I do that well enough, then it may actually become really useful to have an innate that increases the turn cooldown of something, right? But I don't know. We'll see. Everything is subject to change ultimately, but I don't know if I'm going to spend too much more time on the ghoul at this moment. As a Minecraft player, let's go. I haven't played Minecraft in years, but really into this current game, and I feel like this is my long-term baby. The amount of work I'm doing daily. My friend who edits books for a living is also helping me with the story side of things. That's awesome. The cards come in more crazy shapes now. I'm scared, yeah? Welcome back, Evan. Hello, Helkios Games. Welcome. Good to see you again. Oh, right. I didn't test. I need to test this one thing real quick. Hello, Ninja Link. Welcome back. Always good to see you. Nope, that's still not correct. Let's see. Oh, I need to remove this one too. Okay. The snail cat, look at that. Snail cat is only for Twitch subscribers. Why is this not working? Maybe I need to make this go... Maybe this needs to go full over. Is that right? 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 2, 0. I swear now that I'm unemployed, I'm busier than I've ever been. That's funny. Okay, this is just not working. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I need to go... Oh, I need to go column first. See, this is just so finicky. I have no one to blame but myself. I have no one to blame but myself. Are we working on cards that can combine into one or divide into small parts? Divide into parts, yes. Combine into one, I don't think so. The reason I don't want to do combine into one, there we go, it's working correctly now. The reason I don't want to do combine into one is because that feels like a gimmick that requires too much investment. So if I say you have to collect 4 of a certain type of card in a single run, and then you have to combine them all somehow, I feel like that's like just almost never going to happen, because if at the end of the day the player, like let's say the game launches and there's 300 player cards, right? So you need to get, let's say 4 or 3 out of 400 cards in a single run to unlock or to be able to combine them. You know, I suppose maybe it's something that I can do in the future, but at the same time, yeah, I feel like that's just almost going to be impossible. So I'd much prefer like the gimmicks are local to the card that you get, like the Strange Man or the Harvestman or the Tentacle. Because then it's like, if you don't get the card during a run, that's fine. But when you do get the card, now you have a chance to leverage the gimmick in an almost guaranteed way, right? So I'm just worried that combining things into new things, requiring you to get all the pieces, is just going to be too much. It's going to be almost impossible to do. Because then, you know, the other part is like, I will have to ask the player to like hold these items in their stash in the hopes that they might get like the last item to complete the set. I just don't think that's going to be all that compelling. That's very cool. Okay. Fix some issues. They're calling it the most descriptive commit message of all time. Okay. The Eldritch Star. So we need some abilities for the Eldritch Star, which is called the Starfish in the code. We should make a Limp Bizkit reference in the flavor text, shouldn't we? Let's do this. run the ability description exporter. I forgot where that goes. Does it go in logs? Oh, here we go. So I have a tool that can do a dump of all of the abilities in the game, so I can read them all. I don't know if this is super useful, actually. This might be a good one where I can maybe start building out some builds or support for items that have a high cooldown. So the problem is, if I make things scale with cooldown, it has to scale linearly, right? Because if I say, hey, deal 5 damage for every 5 seconds of cooldown that you have, well, I'm going to be doing the same DPS whether I have a cooldown of 5 seconds or whether I have a cooldown of 10 seconds, right? It fundamentally works out to being the same amount of DPS. So if I want to do something that scales based off of increased cooldown, the scaling has to be non-linear. The other thing I could do, though, is I could gate it, right? I could say if the cooldown is greater than 10 seconds, greater than or equal to 10 seconds, then deal 20 damage. And you just don't get the damage if you're less than 10, right? That would be a way of fixing it. Let's do something interesting. Some cooldown is equal to new non-combat composed ability. Bar query target provider is equal to query target provider dot create. What am I doing wrong? Okay, create options.query directions equals board inventory component dot query directions dot adjacent. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we are gonna do var generic non-combat ability is equal to new generic well, I guess I could just do generic ability. So new generic ability, context. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say for each var target actually we don't need to do this, do we? We can just do query target provider dot get cached targets dot sum x dot, let's just do get, do I want to do get turn cooldown? Yes, get turn cooldown. Okay, so var summed, actually let's just do, no, what am I doing? Var self turn cooldown override. turn cooldown override. I need a query target provider. So let's do self query is equal to query target provider dot self query. Cooldown override func. Generic value provider int. Get cache targets sum. Get turn cooldown. So this would be generic value provider dot get value. And then this would be the self query here. Ability configuration. Let's get rid of this. This is just noise. We can make this one innate. Oops. Is innate equals true? Yeah, this might work. No Exodia card. Chocolate covered starfish, yep. And the hot dog flavored water. Not that you want to, but with combination pieces, you could have it increase the probability of getting the other pieces the more you have in the set. Not sure what that would fit with what you have. Yeah, so this comes up a lot. The problem is I want to support seeded runs so that you could share your seeds with other people. But the reason I don't want to do any like loot table management or anything or modification during a run is because that will break the seeded run, right? So the idea of a seed is like if you share a seed with somebody, it will like the exact same options will be available at every node, right? So I can't do like dynamic difficulty. I can't do dynamic loot tables. And I suppose, you know, I don't need to keep the like the seeded run thing, but I think I do because I do want to get to a point within the next couple of months where I can add like a daily run. And the daily run would be like a seed that everyone shares. Like it would be a seed generated from like the current date or whatever. And then it would like randomly choose a modifier for that run that makes it like kind of a challenge run. But then everyone plays that same map, right? Like everyone experiences that run in the same way. I think that would be kind of like a neat little, you know, kind of like community feature. And other games do this too, right? But if I'm like constantly changing like the loot tables dynamically based on what's happening in your game, that will kind of break that, right? So I think that's something that I'm pretty set on doing. So yeah, like once the run is generated, like that's it. It should remain relatively static. Sounds more like you're describing a step function in terms of cooldown to damage ratio rather than a linear function. Yeah, I think that works. Step function. It is plus shaped. If cooldown is greater than left adjacent item cooldown plus right adjacent item cooldown math puzzle. That is an interesting thing. I don't, yeah, maybe that's what I want to do. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We can play around with this. Hello, Mr. Elliptic. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Welcome to all you raiders. I need to raid and run. Have a good stream. Thank you. So for all the people who are new here in the raid party, I don't have any valuables, first of all. So, second of all, you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. The link for that is in the description below. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can create your own builds using alchemy. So if that sounds interesting to you, here's the Steam page. Give it a wish list. Made in everyone's favorite game engine, Godot. All hand pixeled. And right now I'm working on adding a new item to the game, a new card. And we're trying to figure out what abilities we want it to have. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. I want to see if this even works. Get value. Okay. This may end up being too much, but... So abilities, we want the query target provider, the self query, and then the self turn cooldown override. We probably want this update phase to be update phase end, or maybe late. Yeah, probably late actually. Card starfish cooldown sum. We will replace the description in a second. I'm wondering if this is even going to work. We have to wait for C# to build. "13 seconds. So we've got 2.5, that's 5 plus 8, that's 13. Look at that. Oh, it's got, oh, that's not good. It's got a 0 second. How is it even possible? Oh, I'm just returning this. Oh, I need to do a mathf.max here. This should, in practice, never happen, but I do need to make sure it at least has 0.1 second cooldown. Right. So I don't want to do just the sum. Maybe we'll reverse it, right? Maybe we give it a really high... Here's what we're going to do. We'll give it a really high cooldown, and then we'll make its cooldown be reduced by the sum of adjacent items. But maybe we'll make it so that way it has to stay within a certain range, right? So maybe we'll make it such that, like, if the cooldown ends up being less than 5, it just becomes exhausted or something. Well, is that going to work? Because you can make exhausted, like you can make it immune to exhaustion. What if we just did, I mean, I kind of like the idea of summing it up in some way. It could also do like an average instead. So we set the cooldown, or we give it like a high base cooldown, and then we subtract the average of the cooldowns around it. Maybe we do something like that. I want to do something with like averaging it up or summing it, or maybe we just do what Jack said and we just kind of like do, you know, if the left side is less than the right side or something. This shape is a little bit finicky. That's all right, though. The Binding of Isaac also had seeded runs in a daily run format, so I think that would be cool. The deterministic play sessions are also fun to share with broken runs. Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think making seeds like a community thing would be pretty fun. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll figure out what to do with this. We'll figure out something to do with like the sum of cooldowns or something. I do want to do something like that. I think that would be really cool, but yeah, we have to figure out like the exact way to frame it or set up the logic so that way it's engaging to work with. Okay, anyway, I'll be right back in just 3 minutes and we will continue on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about the delay. Thank you for your patience. Let's see what we can do here. So yeah, maybe we'll try formulating it a little bit differently. Maybe we'll take what did I do in base car? Oh, I just fixing that. Gotcha. Okay. So maybe we give it a really high turn cooldown, and then we do maybe we'll call this like reduce cooldown by average or something. Now we don't want to do average because then trying to think of an interesting way to do this. Let's see, what did Jack say? If cooldown is greater than left adjacent item cooldown plus right adjacent item cooldown. Yeah, maybe we could do something like that. Let's just back up a little bit. What I want to do with this item in particular is I want to make it so that way you are incentivized to put higher cooldown items around it. I think that's fundamentally what I'm after. Maybe average would work then. Because if I set the cooldown to something like 18 seconds or whatever for this item, it's not hard to find a bunch of 7 and 8 second cooldown items. The problem is, you know, would the starfish be powerful enough to warrant that? Maybe we reduce the cooldown by the adjacent item that has the highest cooldown. Yeah, maybe we do that. Let's do that instead, actually. I keep going back and forth on this. Now do I want to do, because this is a turn cooldown override, which means it sets the cooldown, but do I want to do a cooldown reduction instead? I probably do. This is not good. Self-current, where is this used? This is actually kind of annoying me because I built this with a flat number in mind, which was a mistake. Was it a mistake, though? I almost feel like this base magnitude ability was a mistake, honestly. Because what this base magnitude ability does is it stores a magnitude as an integer, and then it exposes a bunch of methods for scaling the magnitude. What I probably should have done, though, is I probably should have just made this well, it's not worth thinking about right now, but I probably should have made this an ability value provider of type int. And this is an interface which has a function get value. So every time get value is called, it's returning the most up-to-date version of that number. I would actually have to have probably, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth thinking about, but problem with this is this expects just a regular old value, but I'm going to have a variable value. So I think what I might need to do here, I just need to do like a new generic ability, which I don't like doing. I wish I had a more officially supported way of doing this, but I guess this is the only thing I can really do. Okay. Let's do the max. ctx.turn.baseCard.turn cooldown modifier minus equals generic value provider dot get value. And then this would be self turn cooldown reduction. We can do this. We'll just keep that in the normal phase. I don't think it matters. Do we want it to keep it in the normal phase? No, we'll keep it at late. That's fine. All right. I don't need this self query anymore, so we can get rid of that. So this would be reduce this items. Well, let's just do reduce cooldown by amount equal to adjacent item with the highest cooldown, something like that. I don't know, we can worry about that wording later. Okay. So this is kind of getting away from the original idea that I had, but that's all right. Still plenty of opportunities to get builds that revolve around high cooldowns working. Anyway, let's make this turn cooldown something like 16, which would be 160. Okay. Let's see if that works. And then we can actually start adding some abilities to it. Then we can start adding some abilities. Okay. So 16, this one would be 8. So we do this, boom. Okay, that seems to be working. Sequence contains no elements. We'll fix that. Okay. Does this have... Anyway, it'd be nice if the max like allowed you to specify a default value if it had no elements, but it's fine. Okay. Reduce this items. Well, let's just put this items in there. All right, so now let's actually add some abilities here. I'm thinking I'm just going to do a generic, boring, high amount of damage. So we want to make sure the damage is rewarding to the player for having used a high cooldown card. I guess the other problem though is that you could use stuff like Reach of the Apostate to just override the cooldown. No, sorry, I think I want to do this differently again. Increase this item's cooldown by amount equal to the adjacent item with the lowest cooldown. Min plus equals. We'll turn this down. And then we're going to say, okay, this damage new composed ability. Conditional ability decorator. And we also need a card data provider. Okay, new conditional ability decorator, and we're going to decorate what ability? This can be just, okay, so let's just do const int base damage is equal to 20, var current damage is equal to base damage. Okay, var damage is equal to new damage, current damage. So we put in the damage ability there, and then the condition will be card data provider dot get turn get cooldown. What the heck? Base card dot get cooldown is greater than or equal to const int cooldown target. Set this equal to 100. Is greater than or equal to cooldown target. Okay. So we put the ability configuration in here. We'll just put damage. We'll call it conditional damage, I guess. All right, abilities is what? Card data provider, then conditional ability decorator. Scaling function, bar scalar is equal to ability scalars dot get damage scalar. Current damage is equal to scalar base damage tier. And then we want to do damage dot set scaled magnitude to current damage. I really feel like I should figure out how to get rid of that. Let's just put this in the to-do. Experiment with changing base magnitude ability to use value providers. That's just a code change, but I really do think that maybe that's going to make my system a little bit easier to work with. Yeah, we'll think about that. I think there's a number of ways forward on that, but anyway. So we're going to do deal 0 description keywords dot damage if this item's cooldown is description utils dot time format 1 seconds or greater. Okay, this is current damage here. Now we need to do description utils dot magnitude to seconds. Cooldown target. Card starfish damage. We'll call it conditional damage to be consistent. Okay, let's see if that works. Man, these cards are getting longer and longer to create, but, you know, I'm so self-sacrificing for you guys. I'm just like so selflessly want you guys to have a great gameplay experience, so I'm just being so generous with my time. Make sure you guys have a great experience. It's not gonna benefit me in any way. So, okay, let's see. Why is that description not working? Did I build the translations? Maybe I didn't build the translations. Deal 20 damage if this item's cooldown is 10 seconds or greater. So we got that, and we want to increase this item's cooldown by an amount equal to the adjacent item with the lowest cooldown. So I actually like that formulation a lot better. Oh, the legs broke. The legs broke already. Oh, that's kind of funny. All right, let's put this over here. So yeah, there we go. Actually, this ends up being really good because you essentially have a floor now. Like the lowest cooldown you want this item to have is 10 seconds, right? And otherwise you're not going to get the massive damage. And I may add another ability here too. And then it's kind of like an optimization problem, right? Like it takes up a lot of space. You know, that I might actually, I'm going to probably need to stuff this thing with some good abilities because it takes up a lot of space and you have to make sure that all the items adjacent to it have at least a 5-second cooldown so that you can hit that 10-second target. So you know what I might do actually? I might like massively buff this damage. I think let's increase it to 30. And then let's also we're going to do something like we're going to do this. All paralysis. New composed ability. Actually, do I need to do that? Yeah, I'm going to need to do this. So let's do I forgot how to do this. Buff applicator paralysis debuff. And we need a target provider. We also need the initial base magnitude. And we need the buff factory. Is that right? Options.query sourceboard is equal to false. Options.query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query directions dot entire board. Query target provider. Okay, key all paralysis. Maybe we should call this conditional all paralysis. Okay. And we're going to push this one even higher, actually, I think. Let's make this cooldown target. No, maybe not. We'll just keep it at 10 seconds. That's fine. New conditional ability decorator for the paralysis condition. We're going to need another card data provider. Oops. Okay. Let's set up the abilities before I write the description. Query target provider first, card data provider second, and then conditional ability decorator. Scaling. Let's do const int base paralysis duration. 1 second. Let's make an additive scalar of 2. Current paralysis duration is equal to okay, description keywords dot capitalize, description keywords dot paralysis or paralyze all enemy items. Actually, can I do this? For 1 seconds that's quite an ability description, but that's all right. Okay, query target provider, query options dot limit. Oh, this needs to be description utils dot time format 1, and then description utils dot time format 2. Okay, description utils dot magnitude to seconds, current paralysis duration, magnitude to seconds, cooldown target. Goodness gracious. Okay. Here we go. Paralyze enemy items. There's an extra space in here. Paralyze enemy items for 1.0 seconds. That's not correct, but that's okay. If this item's cooldown is 10 seconds or greater. Okay. Wow. This is actually quite a beefy guy. Hopefully, I'm hoping that this makes it an attractive option despite having a long cooldown. I may just turn up that paralysis as well. Let's do 2 seconds and then we'll make it increase by half a second every tier. We're just going to juice that guy. That first ability doesn't quite read right either. Let me see if I can reword this. Increase this item's cooldown by the cooldown of the adjacent item with the lowest cooldown. Maybe that's better. Increase this item's cooldown by the cooldown of the adjacent item with the lowest cooldown. It's a little bit confusing because cooldown is said 3 times there. But I don't know how to clearly communicate that otherwise. Because it needs to increase the cooldown. It needs to tell the player which item it's selecting to increase the cooldown and what the value of the cooldown increase is. So I think it's probably alright, but I think it's probably alright. Okay, Eldritch Star. Increase this item's cooldown by the cooldown of the adjacent item with the lowest cooldown. Deal 30 damage if this item's cooldown is 10 seconds or greater. Paralyze enemy items for 2 seconds if this item's cooldown is 10 seconds or greater. Yeah. I think that's fine. So yeah, now you kind of have this item where you need to have a higher cooldown item adjacent to it. Make the cooldown 6.7. Okay. Okay. Goodness gracious. I want to see this guy's legs break off again. Wow. He's enduring this. Oh, there it goes. Broke his legs. Okay. I think we can call this one done for the most part. We can call that one done. I need the flavor text still. Okay. Let's see what else do we want to work on here. What's the chance to break the leg? It's 5% chance for the leg to break when you transfer the item to another board. So every time you move the item around from board to board, It has a chance to break the leg. I may change that because, you know, it may just become the case where players get that item and then they have to keep moving it around just to break the legs off. So I may make it so that way I may change it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I may change it so that it has like it listens for like combat victories or something, or it listens for event changes, and then it rolls the chance that it will break after an event is completed. And then the next time you move it after that flag is set, it will break. Because I don't know if I really want players to be like, they get the item and then they just keep moving it back and forth until it breaks. Like, I think it should maybe be more surprising than that. But I don't know. Is it worth addressing that now? I don't really think so. That's something that can be adjusted. It's a very minor detail. So what do I have in my to-do list here? We got to rework a bunch of artifacts. We got to rework Brittle Bones. Adjust the alchemy corruption chance. I think I added something. Remove uniqueness enforcement. So I was doing some alchemy changes and I made it so that items cannot have the same ability multiple times, but that is not communicated to the player, and I also don't know a good way of communicating it, and also I just don't think it's as fun. So I'm going to remove that constraint. I did make an invisible change to alchemy, which makes it I don't remember exactly what it was. I added a loot table to the alchemy system, and I do something like I reduce the weights of certain abilities in the table based on like what type of ability it is. But I don't know if I'm going to do that either. For now, it's good. Yeah, I think so. I may also get rid of the artifact trigger feature. I may also do that. Getting to the point now where if there's like half-baked features in the game, I either want to remove them from the game or finish them. So like I had artifact trigger animations, and this was designed to make it like give you a little indicator on when your artifacts were actually working. The problem is all of these artifacts have non-trivial ways in which they trigger, and so I'd have to wire up like the ability for all those artifacts to listen for those events happening, and I just don't know if it's worth the effort. So I may just strip that system out because I don't really think finishing it is going to give me or give players a lot for the amount of effort that it's going to be. Do you have any other major features you're looking to add, or is it pretty much all there? It's pretty much all there. I mean, I think the last major feature was just the unlock tree. I think you can make an argument, though, that that wasn't really a new feature. That was just like trying to make an existing feature, which was the unlock system, a little bit more interesting. So it was new. It's new in the sense there was like new UI and a new way of doing the unlocks, but like it fundamentally didn't change like what content is there. Like it's just a different wrapping of a feature that already existed, or a different framing of a feature that already existed, if that makes sense. But yeah, in terms of like brand new features, the game is done. Planning on adding basically no new features. Of course, that excludes things like quality of life features, which you could call features, I guess. But in terms of gameplay features, it's all done. And now it's just a matter of adding more content, polishing up the existing content, fixing all the bugs, making certain gameplay systems that are not super interesting more interesting, that kind of thing. this is actually done. Let's see. I think that's done also. Just looking through this. Oh my, look at all these items. Look at all these cards. Board modifier. All artifacts affect items in this row or column an additional time. That would be an interesting one, actually. Trying to think how that would actually work. Let's actually do this, because I need more board modifiers. That's something that I need a lot more content for. Let's investigate this. This is going to be good, I think. So let me think about this. Would it be as simple as... I'm just going to do a really quick test here. Get artifact context. Is it just as simple as doing this twice? It may not be this simple, but let's see. Do you have any kind of marketing pushes got planned to do closer to release? Yeah, so the publisher is going to handle most of that coordination. The publisher is working on like the marketing stuff right now. And of course, I'll continue to do my usual marketing effort, which is, you know, making my YouTube videos, doing the streams, all that stuff. You know, I had that YouTube video like a couple months ago or last month or whatever it was. The rendering server video that blew up, it got like 200,000 views. And I put a little shout out to my game Alchemortis in there. So, you know, I made it easier said than done to create viral videos. But if I can, you know, do that another time, like get a video that gets like 50,000 views or something, with a shout out to my game Alchemortis in there, I think that can help a lot. So yeah, I'm doing my own marketing, doing my own marketing efforts in parallel, but in terms of like an actual marketing effort of like reaching out to content creators and stuff, that's going to all be done by the publisher. So I'm basically free to just focus on the game, which is nice. So it looks like I can just duplicate this. Add artifact hands. If your board contains only weapon items, gain 0.5x critical multiplier. So that is not happening twice. So it's not gaining. So this is the thing that may not be as easy as I think. I wonder why. Why is that not working? Oh, get all natural composed abilities. Oh, is it because I need to put it here as well? What's the plugin you use for Obsidian? Hello, Armored. It's the Kanban plugin. Yep, it's the Kanban plugin. Oh, that's not even working at all. Oh. I think this should be safe to do if I can get this working. Yeah, there we go. Okay, all right. So we have our little framework for how we're going to get the artifacts to multiply out the abilities based on that board modifier. So I just need like an inner loop in here that repeats however many times equal to the board modifier. So now the real question is, how do I actually get that number here so I can repeat this? So we've got our board effects. Let's see. Let's create a new. Let's create a new file. Duplicate artifact. We'll just call it duplicate artifact. I'll just copy this one to have a nice base to work off of. Duplicate artifact. So we don't care about add, do I want to add abilities actually? How do I want to get that number into the card? That's the question. How do I want to get that number into the card? That is a good question. Also, I don't know how to do description. Board effect, duplicate artifact. All items in this orientation are affected by artifacts and additional time. Hello, Snup Bill. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you with the message yummers. Always good to see you. What do I want to do here? We're going to need a lot more board effects as well, but that's all right. I'm trying to figure out what the best way is to get this number in here. I could put it potentially in the artifact context. Do I want to put it in the artifact context? No, probably not. I mean, the simple thing to do here would be to... Oh, I can't get the... That's fine. Let's just do... This is a little bit of a roundabout way of doing it, but I just want to do like get board effect manager dot get public static int get board effect count of string ID. How do I do this? Registrations dot sum x dot dot count. See, this is not going to work either. I want to check it. Yeah, I need the number of board effects, not globally, but for the board that the card is on. So that's not going to work. This would be get board effect count for board. I don't know if I like this. How am I going to get... How am I going to get this to work? I mean, the board effects are here. Board effect context. Create board effect context for board. Actually, I already have the board effect context here. Create board effect context for board. We have the board effects here. Maybe I just do that then. Maybe it's been simpler than I've been thinking this whole time. So I've got the board effect context. Let's do this. Let's do public int get board effect count string board effect ID. return board effects dot sum. I guess I could just count this, right? Count. Okay. Board effects dot count. Actually, that should be fine. So this becomes a lot simpler then, because what I can do 1 plus board effect context dot get board effect count. Right? I wonder if there's, well, before I do that, let me finish this off here. Oh, I don't have the board. Oh, we want to move the board effect context first so that it's equal between those two. Okay. I'm still not a super fan of that, but what was I going to do? I was thinking about using the modifier accumulation. So let's get rid of this. Accumulate modifier. That might be the way to do it, actually. Accumulate modifier. Get all board effects. Okay. Maybe this is what I want to do. Yeah, that might be what I want to do. Board effect modifier key. Public, static, read-only. Board effect modifier key. I forgot how this works. Int duplicate artifacts. Right. Duplicate artifacts modifier. I have this, let's see. I have this pattern here. I just forgot how to use it. Accumulate modifier. Oh, okay. Okay, so register modifier. Do I have that? Can I register a modifier in here? Yeah. Yeah. So I can do this instead. Register modifier, board effect modifiers, dot duplicate artifacts, current +1. Get rid of this. Okay, so now in the board effect manager, this actually needs to be public static t accumulate modifier for board, and then it would just be this. Get all board effects for board. So this is going to be basically the same thing. So maybe I do Sorry, 1 second. Base board effect. And we need the initial val. Oh, I need the key as well. Okay, accumulate modifier for board. This would be get all board effects for board, return accumulate modifier internal key initial val. Oh, I need to pass in the effects. And then this one, this would be get all board effects. Honestly, I don't think this is necessary. Let's just get rid of that one. Now that I've gotten rid of that one, I don't need this method anymore. I guess I should have thought of that before I went try to do that. But anyway, accumulate modifier from board. Okay. So now back to my base card. Instead of doing this directly, board effect context, do I have the owner board? I do. So this would be board effects manager dot accumulate. I guess I would just do this. And actually, I don't need to do this in every loop either. Board effects manager. Really? Why am I having so much difficulty with this? Oh, it's board effect manager. There we go. Accumulate modifier for board. Board effect modifiers dot duplicate artifacts. Oh, I need the board. This is the board effect context dot owner board with an initial value of 0. Okay. All right. Actually, we could make this 1, but I think it's probably clearer if I do 1 plus additional artifact application. Okay. All right. So let's do this. 1 plus additional artifact application. Okay. So it's a minor change, but I'm hooking into the modifier system now, which basically just allows me to register a series of functions that can modify a value. And so now instead of having to know things about like where the modifier is, I can just say, hey, whenever I need to know how many duplicate artifacts I have. Now there's another problem here. Shh, son of a bee. This is going to affect every item, not just the items in the row. Well, let me just see if what I did works to begin with. And then we'll see. We'll see what happens. What are we doing? We're adding a new board modifier. Hello, Johan. Can we have an achievement for the leg breaking and it be 6-7? Oh, goodness. I still have to think about achievements for sure, but we'll see. This is not going to be as straightforward as I thought it would be. I don't need this anymore. That can go away. All right, let's just try and see if it even works. And then we'll figure out how to get it to affect only the items in that row. I think it should be possible, but I don't know if there's going to be a nice way of doing that. Grow board is 5. Okay. Board effects. Board effect, duplicate, artifact. Yeah. Okay. So the unfortunate thing is I put this here. That is happening, that the Hands of the Fallen is applying twice. It's just not applying if it's only in the row here. So that's what needs to happen. So the problem with the accumulator is that it's just accumulating. Oh, that's not good. Cannot get board effects. What? Board effects manager instance is not valid. Really? Really? Oh, that must be happening at startup then. Oh. Yeah, that's happening because I think I'm instantiating cards. Yeah, I can instantiate cards before we're in a run. And so if a card is reaching out to the board effect manager here to accumulate these modifiers. Maybe I don't make this static then. Maybe I don't make that static. I'll just keep it where it is. We will not make that static, and then what I'll do... We'll just do dot instance, and I can't grab an instance reference. Okay. Let's take a different approach then. If instance equals null, we're just going to return default. We're just going to silently fail. It doesn't matter. We'll just silently fail there, and then we'll call it good. Hopefully all those errors go away. All right, so let's go in here. I wonder also, is that going to trigger an update? Let's see. It does trigger an update. Okay, good. Okay, so now the next thing is to figure out how to actually get this to only apply to items that are in the row. What an interesting problem. So the problem is the accumulator doesn't have any idea about whether it should apply to the card or not. Board effect. I need the card somewhere. Do I just put base card in here? I don't know. Am I going to regret this? I mean, I need the cards somewhere. That's the problem, right? I need the card somewhere. So I think what I have to do is put the card in the accumulator and then say card matches query. That is also cached, so that's good. So this should be a relatively quick check, I think. Card matches query. We're going to do current +1, otherwise current. No, wait. Am I thinking about this wrong? No, that should work. Oh, I need the context too? Are you serious? I guess we're going to change this to board effect context, but I need the card too. This is unreal. How do I get... I just don't know how to get the information that I want to get around the place. I could blow up this argument list and say, well, I need the card and I need the context and all that stuff. We already do have the affected cards, though. When is this called? So I can't actually get the list of affected cards from this board effect. But I still need the context. Compute affected cards. So I apparently just don't have... I don't really know what's going on here. Why is it bouncing all over the place? Right, it's because the board effects don't know which board they're on. So the board effects don't know which board they're on. They're completely agnostic as to which board they're on. So in order to know what cards they're affecting, they actually need to know which board they're looking at. But then the problem is that when I'm applying this filter, this modifier here, this is not accounting for which cards is actually affecting. So it's just going to accumulate a modifier. Actually, I wonder if there's a way to... Should I apply the filter earlier in the chain? I think maybe that's the way to do it. Because if I get to this point where I'm registering a modifier, like this accumulator should only be called when I know that it's affecting a particular card. So maybe what I want to do instead is let me get rid of this. Maybe we don't want to pass. Maybe we don't want that, and we don't want that. So this board effect manager, maybe we do continue to pass the cards in here. We have the owner board in here. So get affected cards, base card. Oops. Base board effect. This would be the board effect. So we're going to get the affected cards for each board effect. If not get affected cards dot contains base card, then we're just going to continue. And then we can just call the accumulate. Okay. Maybe that's what... So I was just getting into a mess where I was like trying to pass a bunch of information into the baseboard effect, but I think this is the right answer. We do the filter at a higher level. So by the time the accumulator function gets called, we're already only calling it when we know that this base card is going to be affected by that board effect. Now, try get modifier. Right. So, yeah. I think that should work, actually. Let's try that. How to protect a Godot game from reverse engineering? You can't. You cannot. I mean, you can try, but ultimately it's just not going to work. There's a way to encrypt your PCK and everything, but yeah, I don't know about that. Use statics? I don't know what that means in this context. If you want to elaborate. Time to be a busybody again. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for joining Ninja Link. Hope you enjoy your evening as well. Probably already gone by now, but that's all right. Okay. All right, moment of truth. Hey, it works. So that echo is being duplicated now only when it's in that row. Okay, goodness. We finally did it. Finally did it. Wonder if I should try, maybe I should get the modifier first. So we'll see if the object even has the modifier to begin with. And then if it does have the modifier and it passes the check. So this could be a little bit heavier of an operation. So we're only going to do that check if the board effect actually has the modifier we're looking for. Otherwise, I don't think, yeah, there's no point in running this operation there. A fully GDScript game is always going to be somewhat vulnerable. Yeah, I mean, anything that ends up on a client machine is just, you know, it's going to be vulnerable, right? Like, the problem is, even if you like encrypt your PCK, it has to be decrypted on the client side in order for the player to play it. So somebody with enough knowledge is going to be able to figure out how to just decrypt it and, you know, store the decrypted version and share that version. So I don't know. I almost think it's not even worth thinking about, because like the first goal is to make a game that people want to reverse engineer to begin with. And if you haven't hit that point, then it's like there's no point in thinking about it, you know? It's like that's the kind of problem that you only get if you're hyper successful, right? So maybe not hyper successful, but I think you know what I'm saying. So I think it's worth, you know, the effort is better spent figuring out how to make a successful game first that people would want to reverse engineer, and then deal with that problem after it comes up. If it even needs to be dealt with. It's, you know, a little bit of putting the cart before the horse, you know? Okay, I think this works. So we can call that one good. Done. Oh goodness, that was laggy. Cool. All right, well, that's going to be it for the stream for this afternoon. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Again, you can wishlist Alka Mortis on Steam. The link for that is in the description below. Appreciate all your support, everybody. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I hope to see you there. And yeah, bye-bye for now.